Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have another Rise of Heroes video for you, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about gems. Gems are a very, very important part of this game. They are what turn your heroes from just regular heroes into absolutely insane units. If you do not have your heroes gemmed and gemmed properly, they are going to appear very, very underwhelming, and you are not going to progress in the ways that you're hoping to, and you're just going to seem like you're falling behind. So, there's going to be a lot to this video, so I'm going to have timestamps right at the top of the description. So if you want, you can just head on down there and you can just find which area you're looking for that you need help with, and you can just click that timestamp and head right to that part in the video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is where you can actually get gems. It's kind of hard to do anything with gems if you don't have any. So there's three main areas that we're going to look at for where you can get gems. The first area that we're going to look at is the adventure scenarios, because this is where you're going to be getting a lot of your beginner gems. So there's 9 different areas in the adventure scenarios, and each one of these areas drops its own gem type. So like for example, the Oasis is only going to drop seed gems. The desert is only going to drop fire gems, so on and so forth. So each area's got its own specific type of gem, which is really, really handy because when you're looking for gems super early on, this is super easy to just target the sets that you're looking for and be able to go right after them. The other handy thing about the adventure scenarios is that each location has 6 different quests in it, and each of those quests will drop the corresponding gem slot. So there are 6 gem slots on each hero. And so if you go into the Oasis, for example, and if you need a gem for slot 3 on a specific unit, you're going to go to number 3 here. In this case, it's the Western Oasis. You're going to go there, and only gems for slot 3 will drop there. And again, because this is the Oasis, only seed gems will drop. So it makes it really, really easy to pick what gems you want to get early on for your heroes, and you can get them a little bit easier. One thing to note is that the highest quality of gem that you can get from the adventure scenarios is only a 4-star gem. I don't think I've seen a 5-star gem drop at all from any of the nightmare scenarios. So you can only get up to 4-star quality gems in here, but even still, those 4-star quality gems are going to be absolutely amazing to help you progress through the rest of the adventure scenarios and helping you get into nightmare a little bit further on, as well as then starting to make progress on the boss towers as well. One thing I will suggest is when you're working your way through the adventure scenario is try to get to Nightmare difficulty in the first 4 locations, the Oasis, Desert, Cave, and Mountain Range, simply because those 4 locations will drop the gems that you can basically use to deck out most of your heroes early on. So the Oasis drops seed gems, like we said, and the desert drops fire gems. The cave drops lightning gems, which give crit rate, and the mountain range drop rapids gems, which give you speed. So if you combine rapids gems and seed gems, that's a perfect setup for your healers and support units early on. And then if you combine fire gems from the desert, which give extra attack, with lightning gems from the cave that give extra crit rate, that's again a really nice combination for your offensive units early on. And because those are like the first 4 locations, on Nightmare, they're still really easy. Nightmare doesn't really get super, super challenging until you get up to, you know, like the Dark City and the dungeon. Even then, it's still manageable. But for the first 4 locations, like, they're the easiest Nightmare difficulties. So it's really easy to pick up some 4-star quality gems early on so that you can start progressing a little bit further. So the next location that we are going to look at is the boss tower. Now, there are currently 3 bosses in here that drop gems. The first one is the Amit boss, so we'll just go to drop info here. He drops seed, fire, lightning, thorn, and rapids gems. So again, these are really, really nice gems to pick up early on to help augment your support units and your damage units pretty early on. The Bahamut boss is a little bit more complicated than the Amit tower. The Bahamut boss drops Shell, Luck, Terror, Hawkeye, and Protector gems. So a little bit more advanced gem sets here. You don't typically use a lot of these in like PvE areas. Some of these, I mean, Hawkeye is definitely very useful if you've got units that really rely on accuracy and landing debuffs, then getting some Hawkeye gems is really good. Luck is great for PvP and arena stuff. So yeah, so these gems are a little bit like less common that you'll need, but still some really, really good gem sets in here. And then the third boss that we just got is the Ancient Genie King. Now, he currently does not drop any gems because his tower is still in beta, but once his tower is done and fully released, then he will drop the remaining gem sets that the Amit boss and the Bahamut boss do not drop. The third one that we're going to talk about is in the shop, because you can actually just straight out buy gems. So if you go to the shop in the bottom left, and then if you tap on gems in the bottom right, it will take you to the gem shop, and you can purchase gems in here. So a 4-star gem is going to cost you 120,000 gold, a 5-star gem is going to cost you 240k, and a 6-star gem is going to cost you 480k. So you're pretty much forking out 500,000 gold to try your luck at a 6-star gem. The thing to keep in mind in here is that this is a very, very big gamble, because the only thing that you can guarantee about the gem is the star quality and the set that it's from. The rarity, in terms of like how many substats it starts with and what those substats might be, is all totally random, as well as the main stat for gems that go in slots 4, 5, and 6, which we'll talk about a little bit more later on. It's all going to be random. So you could get lucky, and you could, like, I could buy that 6-star Thunder gem right now for slot 6, and I could get super lucky, and it could roll attack percentage main or speed, but it could also roll a very, very crappy stat. So just things to keep in mind, that this store is an option, but it is a very, very, very big gamble. One other location that I'll just mention, just for the sake of kind of covering all bases, is you can get some gems through the campfire, the campsite. If you've got a certain kind of coffee that will give you gems, when you tap on the present icon there, I currently have coffee brewing that's going to give me diamonds, but you can get certain kinds of coffee that will also give you gems as well. Again, everything about these is going to be random except for the star quality of the gem. So, like the set, the rarity, the stats, everything, it's all random. So it's not the most super optimal way to get gems later on in the game, but if you're starting out in the game and you get a coffee that that can give 4 to 5-star gems, you might get lucky and pick up something really, really crazy early on. But in terms of end game players, you're gonna have much better luck getting your gems from the boss towers. But this is an option, just you know, again, for the sake of covering all bases. Alright, so now that we've covered where to actually get your gems, we're going to go over some set bonus info, and we're going to then look at some stats as well. So we're going to hop into our heroes here, and we're going to just take a quick moment and just look at set bonuses and what they do and how they apply. So a set bonus is applied to your hero whenever you have a certain number of the same set of gems equipped on a hero. And set bonuses are either require 2 gems of the same set or 4 gems of the same set. The way that you know what it is when you tap on the kind of gem that you want. So I just tapped on seed here. So right above the row here where it shows my gems, it says seed 2 sets, HP percent plus 18%. So that basically means that you need 2 seed gems on a hero in order to activate the 18% additional HP and activate the set bonus for the seed gems. The fire gems, for example, is a 4 set, so you need to have 4 fire gems in order to activate the additional 36% attack. Now, because there's only 6 gems that you can fit in a character, there's pretty much 2 ways that you can go about gemming a hero. You can either go with a 4-piece set and a 2-piece set, like I have on Lancelot here. So he's got a 4-piece set of fire gems and a 2-piece set of lightning gems, so I get both of those set bonuses. Your other option that you can go with is you can go with 3 2-sets. So on my Minos here, these gems are not currently the best, but I'm still working on it. My Minos here has all 6 seed gems, and because seed is a 2-piece set, I get that set bonus 3 times. So I get the 18% additional HP times 3. So you can stack 2 set bonuses like this. My Alexandra uses 3 2-set bonuses as well, but of all different sets. So that's another way that you can go about it. One other thing to just touch on is that it does not matter where in the gem wheel you place the gems that are for a certain set. As long as they're somewhere in the wheel, it will work. So you can see here on my Alexandra, I've got 2 lightning gems in slots 1 and 2, and under set effect, it shows I have the lightning set. And then on my Lancelot, he's got the lightning gems in slots 3 and 5, and again, he's got the lightning set activated. So it doesn't matter where they are in the wheel, it just matters that you have the right amount of them. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about main stats and substats, and we're going to kind of break this into 2 parts. We're going to look at slots 1, 2, and 3 first, and then we're going to move on to slots 4, 5, and 6. Slots 1, 2, and 3 are really, really easy and straightforward. So when it comes to the main stat, every gem that goes in slot 1 is always going to have flat attack as its main stat. Every gem in slot 2 is always going to have flat armor, and then every gem in slot 3 is always going to have flat HP as its main stat. Now, the way that the stat numbers work in this game is that you want to be focusing on percentage-based stats as much as possible. There are some games where you want to focus on flat stats first, and then once you get your character to a certain point, you then want to flip over to percentage gems. In this game, you just want to focus on percentages. So because gems in slots 1, 2, and 3 will only ever have flat attack, armor, and HP as the main stat, the substats on these gems are honestly what make or break the gems. So as you can see here, this is, again, on Lancelot, who is a damage dealer. He's an offensive unit. So I have a lightning gem here in slot 3 that has 810 HP as its main stat right now because it's a 5-star gem at level 6. That doesn't really make a difference to Lancelot because, like I said, he's a damage unit, so I want to be improving his damage stats as much as possible to get the most out of him. So, and because I can't get a slot 3 gem that has anything else other than flat HP as a main stat, I've got to focus on really, really good substats. So this gem is only +6, which means it only has 2 substats active right now. But as we can see, one of those substats is 17% additional attack. The reason why it's so high is because at when I got the gem up to +3 and +6, it picked the attack percentage substat and it upgraded that both times. So that made this gem really, really good for Lancelot. So this gem alone is giving him an additional 17% attack, which is amazing. Same thing with some of these other gems here. This first gem here has some crit rate and some attack percentage. It's got 11% crit rate and only 3% additional attack. It also has 7% HP and then 3 speed. So, again, the flat attack definitely helps. It's going to help a little bit, but having those percentage stats in the substats is going to make much more of a difference than that measly 80 attack. And I can actually get one more substat upgrade on this gem if I take this gem up to +12. So again, when you're looking at gems in slots 1, 2, and 3, you really want to be looking at these substats, and you want to be making sure that you're getting gems that have relevant substats to the hero that they're going on. And what I mean by that is basically you want to be getting stats that are going to make what the hero already does do it better. So if you're putting gems on an attacker unit, you want to look for stats like attack percentage, crit rate percentage, and crit damage percentage throughout your substats. Stats like dodge rating and accuracy and HP, while they might be nice, they're not necessarily going to help that unit do more damage. So again, when you're gemming a unit, you want to figure out what that unit already does, and you want to gem it in a way that makes it do what it already does better. You don't want to start trying to turn a like a healer unit into a healer unit that can keep your team alive but can also pump out a little bit of damage. You just want to be able to make that healer unit a really, really solid healer so that you can make your damage units really, really good damage units, and that everybody does kind of what they're supposed to, and you don't create like these weird like hybrid heroes. So now we're going to look at the gems that go in slots 4, 5, and 6. Now, these are a little bit more complicated because their main stats can be random. So unlike gems in slots 1, 2, and 3 that have a fixed main stat no matter what, the gems across slots 4, 5, and 6 pick from a random set of main stats. Now, there's 8 different main stats that that each of these gems can pick from. 6 of those stats are common across all 3 of these slots, and then each slot also has 2 unique main stats that these gems can have. So for gems in slots 4, 5, and 6, the 6 common main stats are flat and percentage attack, flat and percentage armor, and flat and percentage HP. Now, because we said earlier you want to be focusing on percentage stats as much as possible, if you get a gem that goes in slot 4, 5, or 6, and the main stat is flat attack, armor, or HP, you instantly want to sell it. Because you have the option for those slots to also have the percentage version of that stat, you're going to get much, much better value out of a attack percentage gem than a flat attack gem. So you'll want to sell flat stat gems that have HP, attack, and armor right away. There is one exception for slot 6, but we'll talk about that in a second. The unique main stats that gems in slot 4 can roll, they can roll, in addition to the 6 that we just mentioned, they can also have either crit rate or crit damage percentage as their main stats. The gems in slot 5, in addition to the 6 that we mentioned, can have accuracy percentage or dodge rate percentage as their main stat. And then the gems in slot 6 can have life leech percentage or flat speed. Flat speed is the only flat stat in the game that you want to care about. Speed can only be flat, it can't be percentage, and speed is what determines how fast your hero's turn bar fills up, and that's what determines how how frequently they go. So a unit that's got much higher speed is going to be able to take its turns much more frequently than a unit that doesn't have very much speed, and its turn bar is going to fill up a lot slower. So again, speed can be a main stat for gems in slot 6. It will be flat. You want to keep flat speed gems because, again, there's no percentage speed. So keep that in mind. Don't sell gems that have speed as the main stat because you see no percentage sign. Now, again, same thing with the as with the gems in the slots 1, 2, and 3. You still want to focus on gems in slots 4, 5, and 6 that have relevant substats to the type of unit that you're gemming. However, these gems you can somewhat get away with mediocre to garbage substats if the main stat is really good. So for example here, I have this gem on my Lancelot. The main stat is attack percentage, which is great. This gem alone is giving Lancelot an additional 42% attack, which is crazy. But if you look at the substats, it's got 11% armor, an additional 28 flat attack, 128 flat HP, and 4% crit rate. The 4% crit rate is nice. It's a small amount, and it is relevant to a damage dealer. But this when I upgraded this gem, it got, I believe, 2 rolls in armor percentage and 2 rolls in flat HP, which is not what I wanted to see for an offense unit. So I would have preferred all those rolls to go in crit rate, but I'm still using this gem for now, again, because the main stat is what I want it to be for Lancelot. So I will eventually get this gem replaced with a gem that still has attack percentage as the main stat, but just some much better substats. So maybe some crit rate and some crit damage in there, and when I upgrade the gem, it actually improves those stats a little bit. One other thing to note is that whatever stat appears as the main stat, that's the bigger font stat that's in orange at the top there that says attack 42%, that's the main stat. The stat for the main stat cannot appear in the substats. So I can't get a, say like a slot 5 gem that has attack percentage as a main stat and attack percentage as a substat. It's just not possible. So don't be spending your time looking for a gem that's got attack percentage as a main and a sub. It will never happen. All right, so now when it comes to, you've got the gems that you want for the right sets, you've got the right main stats, now you want to start upgrading those gems so that you can improve their stats. Now, when you upgrade a gem, one of 2 things is going to happen. Every time a gem gets to level, gets to plus 3, 6, 9, or 12, it's either going to gain a new substat or it's going to improve a current substat. And the way that you'll know what it's going to do is basically at whenever you get a gem to plus 3, if the first line of substats has a stat in it, it will then pick any one of the substats on a gem and it will improve that substat by a certain amount. When you get it to plus 6, if there is again a substat in the second line, which in this one it has crit rate as the second substat, it will then try to upgrade again any one of the substats at random and it'll improve it a little bit. When you get a gem to plus 9, if there already is a substat in the third slot, it will again pick one of the random substats and upgrade it. And then when you get the gem to plus 12, if there's already a substat in the fourth slot, it will again pick another substat for a 4th time and upgrade it. If there are no substats in those corresponding lines when the gem hits a certain level, it is then going to instead add a substat to a gem. The color of a gem determines how many substats the gem currently has. So if a gem currently has 4 substats, the gem is going to be orange. If a gem currently has 3 substats, it'll be purple. If it has 2, it will be blue. If it has 1 substat, it will be green. And if it has no substats at all, it's going to be gray. Gray and green gems are what you're going to get from the scenarios. Those are going to be your starter gems. And then blue, purple, and orange gems are what you're going to get from the boss towers, and those are going to turn into your end game gems. Starting off with blue is okay, but eventually you're going to want to move into basically looking for only purple and orange gems. So when you are upgrading the gem, like I said, the substat that gets chosen is random. You've got no control over it, so it can sometimes pick the stat you want. So like I said here for this this lightning gem, I would have wanted the crit rate percentage to be improved, but instead it picked the armor percentage and the flat HP, which I wasn't super happy with, but that's just how it is. So you can't pick the stat that gets chosen, so it's definitely a game of patience when it comes to getting the gems that you want. Getting the gem with starting off with the right substats is one thing, but then when you go to upgrade it, if it doesn't roll into the right stats, it might not end up being a useful gem, and you may end up just selling it. So you can get gems that start off with either 0 or up to 4 substats. Let me just try to find one here. I think I've got a rapid one. Yes, so if a gem starts off with 4 substats, it will start off orange. And so when you get a gem that starts off orange, when you upgrade it at plus 3, 6, 9, and 12, you'll get substat increases, which is awesome. That's what you want. Which is going to make these stats on the gems much better, and it's going to turn it into a much better gem for the hero that you put it on. If you start off with a gray gem, like we've got here in the blood set, if you start off with a gray gem, it doesn't have any substats. So when this gem gets to plus 3, plus 6, plus 9, and plus 12, instead of improving a substat that's already there, it's just going to add a substat, which is nice. It's still an extra little bonus, but it's going to have like its starting value, kind of like the numbers that are here. So the numbers are going to be relatively low. So that's why eventually when you're getting into the end game, you want to try to get purple and orange gems, because those will start off with 3 substats if it's purple and 4 substats if it's orange. And then you'll have, if it's a purple gem, you'll have 3 opportunities to improve the substats, because then at level 12 it will add the 4th. And then if it's an orange gem when it starts off, you'll get all 4 opportunities to improve the substat. Alrighty, so we're coming to the end of this video. If you've been watching since the beginning, kudos to you. Thank you so much. Couple things that we're just going to talk about now are some tips when it comes to improving, or when it comes to upgrading your gems and upgrading their substats, some things to look for, and then knowing what gems to actually put on a hero. So when you are upgrading a gem, so let's take a look at this 5-star Rapids gem that I have here that has attack percentage as the main stat. As I'm upgrading this gem, the 2 stats that are most appealing to me on this in the substats are the crit rate percentage and the flat speed. So as I upgrade this gem, if the substat rolls start going into armor or HP percentage, I might not end up using this gem because the upgrades didn't increase the stats that I wanted. It's still going to be an okay gem to use because it has the attack percentage as the main stat, so regardless of what the substats are, I'm still going to get that pretty high attack increase to my hero. But to be like super optimal, you'll want to use gems that have like the right substats as well as the right main stat. So if this gem, as I'm upgrading it, doesn't end up rolling speed or crit rate, I might just end up selling the gem outright. Because if it's not going to end up being an improvement, then I'm not going to want to put it on one of my heroes. I might put it on like another hero that I'm just like slowly kind of just leveling up so that it's got something. But it would be something that would be very soonly replaced. So when it comes to actually picking the gems that you want to put on a hero, there's a couple of different things that you want to take into consideration. The first thing that you want to take into consideration is what is that hero doing? And we kind of talked about this already. So again, for your damage dealers, you don't want to be, you know, slapping them with HP gems necessarily. There's an exception that we'll mention in a minute. But you want to kind of be looking at gems that will improve what that unit already does. So again, for Lancelot here, because he's a damage unit, I gave him gem sets that will increase his attack percent, or that will just increase his attack stat, and that will increase his crit rate stat. So that means he'll be landing more crits, which will help him do more damage, and his overall attack is just increased. When it comes to like your support units, you want to typically give them rapid gems, which will give you extra speed, and then seed gems, which will give you extra HP. There's obviously so many different combinations of ways that you can gem your heroes. One of the things that you also want to take into consideration when you are gemming a hero is you want to look at their skills. Sometimes skills are increased, so like they might do extra damage based on a different stat, or they might better support your other heroes on the team based on a different stat. So looking at Minos here, for example, Minos is a support unit. So on Minos' first attack here, it says uses the power of nature to attack one enemy, and then the higher your armor attribute, the higher the damage. So if I wanted to improve the damage on this a little bit, I could give Minos some extra armor, and then this skill would also then do a little bit more damage. For the third skill here, this is the one that makes Minos really, really good. Protects all allies and then gives all allies a shield for 2 rounds, and then the higher your max HP, the stronger the shield. So having the highest amount of HP on Minos here is going to make that shield incredibly, incredibly strong. So when it comes to picking the right gems, you want to look at their skills, look at what the hero does, and then pick gems that will help, like I said, help that hero do what they already do, but then do it better. One other thing that you can do if you are still completely stuck and you have no idea how to gem these heroes is you can go to the info section and you can tap on the magnifying glass here. And then if you scroll down, it will give you recommended gem sets for different kinds of ways to actually gem the hero. So if you're completely stuck, you don't know what to do, you can always come in here and you can use the recommendation. This is not always going to be the best way to gem your heroes, but it is a good starting point, like I said, if you've got no idea what to do. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this entire thing, mad kudos to you. I know this was a pretty lengthy video. I hope I didn't make things more confusing about gems. I hope this was able to clear some things up and help some people. If you've got any questions about anything we discussed in this video or about something that I may have left out about gems, please leave a comment in the comment section down below and I will go through them and I will do my best to help you out. Or you can just reach me directly on Discord, or you can talk to me if I'm on in the game. I'll do my absolute best to try and help you out. So again, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.